It's Blissen Up. I'm your host, Rachel Lang, intuitive astrologer. Get starstruck with inspiring guests and engaging conversations. Blissen Up starts now. Oh my gosh, I am so excited to be back. Welcome to Blissen Up.
Yay, Rachel's back.
That was the voice of John Williams. Hi, John.
Hi, sweetie. I miss you so much.
I know, I miss
I'm
you
so
too.
glad you're back.
I know, you go away for 2 months and then all of a sudden, John's got blonde hair, which you can't
Well,
see.
it's kind of getting there.
It looks so good. I
Thank
say it's
you.
beautiful, but that's my Libra. That's my Libra Mercury talking.
Hey, I'll take it.
It's hot.
Thank
Super hot.
Thank
Aw,
you.
I've missed you.
I've missed you too, honey. And I want to hear all about your trip and
Yeah.
your journey and
Yeah.
all that good stuff.
It's been a wild couple of months. I've been doing a lot of traveling, as many of you who follow me on Facebook know. I've gone to New Zealand to study with the Maori and for a class, and I went to Nashville and saw some of my favorite people and got to connect with a lot of my clients, and went to Memphis, and so it's been action packed. It's been a very full and rich and rewarding summer, and now I feel like I'm coming back with even more information, with even more insights to inspire you to live more blissfully. And so we're gonna have some changes that will be taking place over the show over the next couple of months, and really by the time Jupiter moves into Virgo on August 11th, our show's gonna look a little bit different. And
so this is very strategic.
It is. It's very strategic. So we're gonna kind of close out the summer a little bit with and have some really exciting topics in the next couple of weeks. Today's show, as many of you know, if you've been on social media or if you've been looking at the news, we've all been in touch with this Pluto flyby. The spacecraft New Horizons has gone as far out into our solar system as it can. It's gone into the Kuiper Belt. It has captured pictures of Pluto. And I think, this is really significant for us symbolically because of all that Pluto represents. And we're going to talk today in our show about some of that symbolism and about what this means for you in your personal life, but also what this means for the evolution of our consciousness as a people. So it's really exciting for someone with a lot of planets in Scorpio like myself. Pluto is the planet that rules Scorpio. And so for those of you who have any kind of Scorpio in your chart, Scorpio rising, Scorpio sun, Scorpio moon in particular, you're going to want to know a little bit about what your ruling planet has been telling us. Namely, it's telling us it's got a heart.
Right?
Yeah. It's Pluto showing us
That's pretty amazing.
its little soft side, which I think is so incredible. So we're going to talk about that today, and we and I said in my promo materials that we've got a few revelations to reveal too. So we'll talk a little bit about those, and they're related to Pluto. And in addition to that, coming up next week, we've got a really significant astrological event. Venus, the planet of relationships, harmony, balance, finances. The planet that rules the heart chakra is actually going into retrograde. So I want to talk a little bit about that as well. This is a very kind of interesting, action-packed time for us. And when we pay attention to everything that's going on in the cosmos, then we can feel a sense of connection, and a connection to ourselves, or connection to one another, connection to the earth, connection to created reality, but more importantly, connection to the divine. And to the idea, the notion that we are all functioning together, that you can't breathe without someone else's breath being affected, and so when I look at some of these influences that are happening, and I look at all of the motion and how things have been shifting and have been evolving, I get really excited, because I think this is just an indication that we as a society, we as a planet, are all in a process of major evolution, fast evolution too. This, and before I get starstruck, I have one more thing to add, and that is that, in another discovery that was made this week is that there's a galaxy. The scientists and researchers have discovered 5 new black holes in a neighboring galaxy. And anytime there is a discovery of a black hole, what this symbolizes is that we have access to new information, and we have access to understanding things from a kind of a deeper, broader perspective. And so I think that all of this discovery about Pluto, the upcoming Venus in retrograde, everything that we're getting ready to experience is all working in conjunction with all this new information that's accessible to us at this time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It's pretty amazing. And this whole Pluto thing, I wonder if it's connected to the transgender awareness.
Yeah, actually, oh my God, I can't believe that you said that. So I'm actually speaking about this subject.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm speaking about the changing nature of gender and how our astrological symbolism is adjusting and changing and representing kind of more of a gender fluidity with us.
Yeah.
And so Pluto's definitely involved, but I'm discovering in my research that it's the asteroids.
The asteroids. Okay.
Yeah, that's some of the goddess asteroids, like Pallas Athena, Juno, Ceres, and Vesta in particular are the ones I'm focused on in my talk.
Okay.
But there are a number of indicators. But yeah, Pluto, and actually what I've done is I've traced back from, so when Pluto was in Scorpio from 1983, 84 until 1995, we started getting in touch with our deeper subconscious drives, motives, our wounds. This was when psychology was, we had like Phil Donahue on air and Sally Jesse Raphael, and we were all kind of getting in touch with some of those deeper our wounds, quote unquote, because those were some of the big terms, PTSD, and we were, but in that process, we started to, develop new ideas about our sexuality, and so things started coming up into the surface and kind of, being revealed, and then Pluto went into Sagittarius, and it was kind of like, Sagittarius is the sign of understanding, deeper understanding, but it's also the sign of freedom and intellectual freedom as well. And so, in philosophy and faith, and so what it did was it took our ideas of ourselves and our sexuality, because Pluto is definitely related to our sexualities, and it stretched it open, and so it caused us to kind of expand. Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius, and Jupiter expands. It magnifies anything that it comes in contact with. It's the biggest planet in our solar system, and so all of those ideas we sort of broke outside of the box, and then Pluto went into Capricorn. And Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, which deals with structure. It deals with commitment. It deals with responsibility. And so, yes, under that Pluto and Capricorn, we've seen the legalization of gay marriage. We've seen, more rights and more awareness about transgender and gender fluidity. And this is happening not just this is happening in our heterosexual relationships too. Yeah. Our roles are shifting and changing.
What I think is really interesting, because I'm going to put up this little picture just to show you. And if you see the little picture of the heart, right, that everyone's talking about on Pluto, when equality was passed in all 50 states, it was love wins, and then Pluto appears with this big heart on it, and I think it's pretty amazing.
It is. Yeah, well, actually, and what's interesting too is that there was a big, huge transit, and everyone was calling it the Star of Bethlehem influence.
Right.
But Venus, which is the planet of love and relating, it's the planet of harmony and balance and partnership, was standing right next to, so they were in conjunction, the planet Jupiter, which is the planet of luck, expansion. It's the planet of opportunity, and it's also the planet of sort of spiritual openness and spiritual awakenings and awareness. And so we had that conjunction, which was really dynamic. It was so beautiful, and everyone could see that up there with Regulus, all in Leo, all three of those planets kind of lined up. And to me, that was like the rainbow.
Yeah,
like okay, let's accept one another, let's love one another, and let's let love be our spiritual foundation, not the rigidity and the rules and the sort of dogmas that keep us limited and keep us separated from one another.
Yeah.
So that Pluto with a heart, love wins, along with Venus and Jupiter was all just really exciting, very exciting for us astrologers. So we will talk a little bit more about some of these topics and about Pluto in particular. But first, I'd like to get starstruck.
Haven't pressed that in a while.
John loves that. That gives John bliss. That sound effect right there is John's bliss sound.
Yes.
He smiles every time and his face gets red. So Starstruck, for those of you who are just joining us, is the segment in our show where we talk about what's happening this week astrologically so that you can make the most of each day. And so we start today, of course, because it's the start of our week. I think we should start every week on Friday, because Friday's it's Venus's day, so we're all like a little bit more relaxed
and ready for the weekend.
Totally.
Yes.
So we start today. We're still kind of in the energy of the new moon. And so, all of us, whether we know it or not, have over the last couple of days set intentions. Some of us have made it, have actually sat down and said, what are my intentions? Some of us have just had awakenings, realizations, like, oh, I want to do that. I want to make that happen. And so the moon's journey now into Leo, which is where it is right now, reminds us that this is time, setting our intentions, planting new seeds, also is part what I can't even talk. One of my intentions is to talk.
No, you're so excited.
I know, I have so much to say. So the moon's journey into Leo reminds us that stepping up into our charisma, owning that enthusiasm for life, just emboldens us. It gives us more courage so that we can take action on some of those intentions we've set. When we have a new moon in a cardinal sign, and our cardinal signs are Cancer, Libra, Aries, and Capricorn. Not in that order, but those are our cardinal signs. And when we have a new moon in a cardinal sign, cardinal energy is all about making things happen. It's about initiating change. And so when we have a new moon in Cancer, we have this real desire to apply sort of tangible steps to those intentions that we're setting. So this is the next couple of days, we're still going to be in this influence up until the quarter moon. And so this is a really, really positive time to be figuring out, like, how are you going to manifest your goals? What are those intentions that you set, and how will you step into them? And so action plans, really, really important, really helpful. Now, for you fire signs in particular, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius, this next couple of days is pretty dynamic for you. So make the most of this and get out of your comfort zone in whatever way you can. Don't be afraid of your own power. Don't be afraid of your own charisma. Step up into it and shine. Now, the moon tomorrow. The moon is going to be moving into Virgo, which is really great for all of us to so it's really great for all of us to kind of clean out our closets, focus on the details, get some work done, all of those things, and it's happening kind of around the same time that our big astrological highlight of the week is happening, which is Venus's ingress into Virgo, which will happen tomorrow at 3:38 p.m. Pacific time. Now, Venus will only be in Virgo for a short time before it stations retrograde on July 25th, which we'll talk about in just a few minutes. But let me talk about Venus and Virgo. So Virgo is ultimately the sign. It's Pisces' opposite sign. But Virgo is the sign of selfless service. It's the sign of, and it's the sign that reminds us to be impeccable with our words, impeccable with our dress, because Venus is responsible for how we look. And it also invites us to be in, to grow in fidelity, to grow in humility in our own personal relationships. And so what happens is when Venus goes into Virgo, we all kind of step back from our emotional selves and we kind of apply a more critical lens into those relationships that we're in. Now, this can ultimately lead to a process of discernment, which is what we want. We don't want Venus and Virgo to over-criticize or to find flaws, but to really discern, is this where I need to be going? Is this relationship ultimately facilitating my own growth, my own spiritual evolution? Do I want to serve my partner, or do I feel like it's out of balance? And so all of those questions come up when Venus is in Virgo. For you Earth signs, this is a great time. While Venus is direct for these few days, and it's a great time to be sort of thinking about your appearance, thinking about are you representing yourself as your true self? When Venus goes into retrograde, that's the time. That's not the time to make any changes, but it's a time to really reflect on matching the inner and the outer, and really being in your beauty. So Leo is about stepping into charisma. Venus is about stepping into your beauty and claiming it. Also, great time to start a budget and stick to it, because Virgo is it's more cautious and more conscientious. So we're going to get a pretty strong dose of Virgo energy this weekend with the moon in Virgo and Venus moving into Virgo. And so it's great for you Earth signs, Capricorns and Virgos in particular, and Tauruses. It's also a great time to be outside. Earth signs energy, it's all about connecting to the tangible and connecting to the beautiful. So what in our created reality feeds us spiritually. And for our mutable signs, Gemini, Sagittarius, and Pisces, this weekend might trigger a little bit of like kind of reflection on the past, and maybe some feelings of guilt, or some circumstances that haven't completely reached closure might come up. This is a really great opportunity for you to practice a little self-forgiveness and a little forgiveness of others. And so one of my forgiveness like sort of mentors who I love to read when I'm wanting to learn anything about forgiveness or work on forgiveness within myself is Desmond Tutu.
Okay.
And so I recommend that you check out one of his books, The Book of Forgiving, for example, and kind of move into that. Then and so that's this weekend leading up to Monday, and then on Tuesday the moon moves into Libra. Yay! and the sun's going to form a really nice trine with Saturn. So the influences of this day are particularly significant for our water signs, and especially if you're a late degree water sign. It's a great time to kind of apply focus to anything that you're wanting to build. Saturn deals with structure. It deals with responsibility, and ultimately it deals with your success, because it's recognizing the steps that take to get there, and following those steps. And so it's a pretty great time for our especially our water signs. So. And that would be you.
Yes.
Because you're late degree water sign. Then Wednesday, the sun moves into Leo. Yay! I forgot. On Tuesday, one other thing. Air signs. This is because the moon's in Libra, and because we've got that, the sun's getting ready to move over into Leo. This is a great time for communication, for getting together with friends, and for date night. So our Geminis, our Libras, and our Aquarians, you've got make the most of this. Get out and enjoy some company. the right kind. So then on Wednesday, the sun moves into Leo. Another really big. We got a lot of big things happening, and Mercury's going to be moving into Leo on Thursday, and so this is kind of ushering in a time that's full of inspiration, passion, enthusiasm, courage. You can really take whatever your convictions are and expand into them and really speak your truth. And so that's going to be pretty significant. Thursday's a great night for our Aries, our Leos, Sagittarians, and Geminis. And for you fixed signs, especially Aquarians and Scorpio, you might feel the urge to kind of step into the background and let others shine, but that urge might be causing you to miss an opportunity, because your opportunity really is to kind of move past or move through any internal tension and really step up on stage and step into your own charisma. There's a tendency for you to want to kind of defer to people who just for the sake of like it's more peaceful back here in the background, right? But this influence it really kind of inspires you. It kind of plants a seed of desire to really be seen and to really be heard and to be noticed. So that's our week, and so moving into the next part of our show, we're going to be talking about Pluto's flyby and other astrological happenings. So I found this really funny little song that I wanted to share with you that to kind of introduce this next segment talking about Pluto. And before we go to the song, if you have any kind of Pluto stories that you want to share, if you've got any kind of revelations that have come up during this really intense Pluto time, feel free to chat or feel free to call. We've got some of our favorite people in the chat room. Yes. So feel free to share your Pluto stories. So let's play our song, take a break, and we'll be right back.
Alrighty.
All right.
Well, that wasn't exactly it.
That wasn't. I don't think Pluto wanted us to tease him.
That was cute, though.
Cute.
If you'd see what we were seeing.
We don't know if it was working or not. We were like.
But you got to see a cute little graphic in the meantime.
Cute little graphic.
Yes.
Yeah, John found that graphic, and I'll post a video of that of the a link of the video rather that just in case you missed it. Because it was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun.
A little cartoon.
Yeah. So let's talk about Pluto. Now, John, when you think about Pluto, what do you think about?
What do I think about with Pluto? Well, like you were saying, expanding the sexuality, the awareness. So that's why I had asked about the transgender thing, because I was wondering, because we're seeing a huge emphasis on that, and exploring that. And then Caitlyn Jenner now with the ESPY Awards and that beautiful speech. Did you hear the speech?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
And I mean, that brought me to tears. That was an amazing speech.
Yeah. Definitely.
So I think this is a really amazing time to be in, and to see Bruce's transition from Bruce to Caitlyn and all-American athlete to embracing who he really truly feels she is. So I think that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's absolutely one representation of Pluto's symbolism. Just to give you a few little Pluto tidbits.
Yeah.
I want to put this in context for us all, because what has happened is this Pluto flyby came right after the sun opposed Pluto in our heavens, and so over the last couple of weeks, we have all had an opportunity with that opposition. We've had all an opportunity to kind of discover things that have been hidden, things that have not surfaced. And I've seen this a lot in my client practice. People discovering that their partners have been cheating on them, or that there's a health issue, or even something great like discovering that they're going to get engaged. I've had a lot of engagements and a lot of pregnancies also kind of manifested in my clients and friends too. Congratulations to my sister Allison, who just got engaged under the Venus Jupiter conjunction.
Wow, congrats, Allie.
Yeah. So there's been a lot of revelations and big, huge, like cathartic shifts. And so that happened under that opposition. Then Mars, which is actually Pluto, is sort of a higher octave of Mars. Meaning that if Mars is the personal. Is a personal planet that deals with our sexuality, deals with our passion, it deals with our physical vitality. It also deals with how we engage in conflict on a psychological level, and on a spiritual level too, and our ability to defend our truth and to stand up for ourselves and to develop a sense of our own separateness, our ego identities. That's what Mars represents. So that's the personal version, personal influence, personal planet. And our trans-Neptunian planets they all kind of take that personal element to a more transformational and public social interplay. And so Pluto is as a higher octave of Mars kind of shows us a more spiritual like it kind of adds a spiritual dimension to some of those things, some of those Mars traits. So Pluto itself, so Mars has been opposing Pluto, and this happened right at the flyby, and Mercury was coming up to oppose it too. And so, we've had all of these personal planets opposing Pluto while we've been discovering Pluto, as through the flyby. And so what has been happening in our personal lives is that we've been getting a really strong dose of truth, and our own, and it starts with ourselves. I'm definitely speaking for myself here, but I'm also seeing this in other people. Yeah. That there's been a lot of just like aha moments, like this. Okay, this is happening. This is, we're understanding our past, our history. We're understanding intergenerational memories and traumas, and so we're doing some really significant healing, and kind of we're all evolving together by the collective, as a collective, because of our ability to see more of Pluto's influence. But this is happening in our personal lives, so there's a real mirroring that's occurring as a race, as a human race, as a planet. We are evolving significantly, but the evolution isn't coming from our heads; it's coming from our hearts. That's what Pluto's message was to us. That's where the healing occurs. Pluto does deal with transmutation. It deals with shifting of energy, and any kind of healing, any kind of evolution involves the process of something moving, energy moving from one form into another, just like a butterfly moves from a caterpillar. When you're in a healing process, you might have cells that regenerate, when you have a wound, for example, there are cells that rush in and kind of attend to the wound. So it's getting all of the focus. The area of pain is getting all the focus, but everything else is working to shift that, to change that. And it will change form. It might scar. When you have a challenging experience in your life, you might have, that there might be an imprint, but ultimately the healing process is about transmuting that into something that then works for your soul's evolution, that promotes growth, and that's what Pluto does. And so so it does that on physical levels. It actually does kind of symbolize shifts that are happening in our lives, losses of loved ones, financial upsets or gains, awards, recognition. It's the planet that rules mass media. There are it's been known as this like really intense energy, like the really intense, this planet of intensity. And when you've been under a Pluto transit, you might have felt a little bit more intense. And ultimately that intensity, that it's all about that you feel that intensity because there's a groundswell of energy that's promoting your change, that's promoting your growth. So it's pretty significant. It's pretty powerful.
All that from a little planet.
I know, and a planet that they tried to demote.
Yes.
Well, you know why they demoted it?
Big things come in small packages.
Yes.
No, why did they demote it?
Well, what happened was they discovered Eris,
Mm.
which is like she's kind of the warrior goddess, the like Mars's like the equivalent, like the female equivalent of Mars and Pluto.
Okay.
And Eris is bigger in size than Pluto. She's another trans-Neptunian object, another dwarf planet, and she's bigger than Pluto. And when they discovered her, I think it was in 2005. Fact check that.
Okay.
I think it's 2005.
Mm-hmm.
But when they discovered her, rather than elevating her to planet status, they started they had already started reworking the definition of what a planet was. But when they discovered her, they demoted Pluto rather than raising her up to a planet.
I see. So, yeah, she was discovered January 5th, 2005. You got it right. Ding, ding, ding.
Ding, ding.
Yeah.
I love it when I my
when you
memory.
got it right.
Yeah, definitely.
You got it right.
Great. So yes.
You got the right answer, Belle.
I love it. Thanks, John. Thank you.
I had to find it, but yeah. Okay. Yeah, no, Eris. Eris is how you spell it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And she's actually pretty prevalent in a lot of charts with strong Aries influence and some of our feminist leaders and.
Well, this is the first time I'm hearing about it. So this is interesting because, when we do typical astrology charts, we just look at, the planets in our solar system.
But that is in our solar system.
But then in 2005, it was discovered. So how does that affect the astrology charts?
Yeah.
I mean, that's interesting to.
Well, that's a great question.
Okay.
A lot of times when something is discovered, it comes into our collective conscious. It's always been there.
Okay.
But when it's named and it's identified and it's given sort of a mythology or a personality, then we can start incorporating that. It's almost like we're ready as a like our consciousness is ready to incorporate that into our language.
Okay.
For example, in the 1800s, like 1800, like the early 1800s is when a lot of the asteroids were discovered, like Ceres, for example, and she was named a planet early on. But that was around the time when, that was actually, it coincided with the writing of the Vindication of the Rights of Women. It coincided with the suffragette movement. It coincided with all of these movements to begin looking at equality. And these asteroids are goddess images. They're elements of the sacred feminine that we were kind of like that sort of indicated and symbolized that we're ready to kind of start breaking open and maybe even deconstructing a little bit some of our patriarchal culture.
So do they look at the times and then apply the traits to the asteroid? Is that how it works?
Well,
or the planet at that time?
It's both.
Okay.
It's because it's like what is up for us in our consciousness, as well as and so what's up usually it leads us to naming the discovery that's coming.
Okay.
So for example, Pluto. Since we're talking about Pluto.
Sure. Yeah.
It was discovered in 1930. And this was right around the time of the stock crash and the Great Depression, and it was named for the god of the underworld, and so what was happening for us as a society, and not just in our country but all over the world, is that corporations, the financial structures and systems were starting to crash. Like there was a complete like breakdown in order to build back up.
So you think history's repeating itself right now?
I don't think so. I think it did in 2008.
Okay.
When Pluto moved into Capricorn, because Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, and Capricorn is all about structure. It's all about Saturn rules our bones. So Pluto and Capricorn is let's look at the bones and the framework of every system, every major system. So corporate greed. We're gonna identify what is wrong. Where is the breakdown in the system, and how can we rebuild? But there's almost always a breakdown in order to get to a breakthrough, in order to get to a reconstruction. And so it's not necessarily a struggle, and especially if you're living in integrity, so your own personal lives. If you are honest, if you're not keeping secrets that are harming yourself or harming others, Bill Cosby.
I know. I was about to transition to that. Yeah.
Who's had a lot of Pluto active in his chart.
That's going to be interesting to look at.
Definitely. Definitely. Pluto moving right over the midheaven, which is the point of public visibility in it, reputation in your chart. So if you're keeping secrets, if you're not living in integrity, then Pluto offers you the favor of facilitating your growth by allowing things to come out of hiding, come out of beneath the surface. So it's generous in that respect. It says, okay, you know what? I will create the ripple effect in your life. I will create whatever needs to happen for you to break open. And sometimes we get in touch with our hearts and we break open and heal significantly when we have those kind of cathartic experiences, breakdowns.
And do you think that's what's happening to Bill Cosby right now?
Yeah, totally.
Sort of coming clean.
Yeah, and for all those women too.
For sure.
It's because keeping those secrets, it's toxic to your physical and your physical ecosystem. It's just like, it's just not. It's not good.
No.
Not good.
We have a call.
Oh, okay, great. Hello? You're on the air?
Of course I am. It's Michelle.
I knew it was you.
She heard us talk about Bill Cosby. She's like, I'm on it.
Yeah.
Of course I am. Bill Cosby. Come on, bring it.
Well. What do you want to share about Bill Cosby, Michelle?
Well, I just think it's really interesting. I love it. Are you looking at his chart?
I'm pulling it up right now.
It's insane. You have this, Pluto crossing over. And it's opposing his sun.
Yeah.
So you have a Pluto not only crossing over into his 10th house of career status, professional, how people view you, but it's opposing his sun.
Right.
It's opposing his Mercury, and then it's coming up to oppose Pluto.
I know.
We're going to have giant destruction of career.
I know. Well, I think we talked about this in a former episode, and this is not something that's going away. I mean, that's the thing about a Pluto transit, is that it has lasting effects. Right. There are, Pluto moves really slowly, and so a Pluto transit will last about 2 years, and in those 2 years, it's like everything breaks down and gets rebuilt in a new way. It's pretty intense.
We are witnessing the destruction of someone's career, and from that small little planet.
Yes.
It's amazing to me, that little powerful.
I know. Yeah. Well, as a Scorpio rising, you would know.
We were just saying big things come in small packages.
Yeah.
Hello. Yeah. Welcome to Michelle Polino land. But here's the other thing. I was talking to my mother about this the other day. He has Mars and Scorpio.
Right.
Let's talk about that. You got a planet Pluto, which is led by Mars is ruler. It's ruled by Scorpio.
Yeah.
The secondary ruler is Mars. Okay?
Right.
So, and then you got a Venus and Gemini. Like, first of all, Mars and Scorpio, they like secrets in the bedroom. They like to keep their bedroom in the bedroom, and they like secrets in the bedroom, and they like, power in their bedroom, and they find power from that. And then you got a Venus and Gemini, who's the philanderer. And you know what I mean? And everybody knew, and I've talked to a lot of celebrities about this. Everybody knew about Cosby's philandering.
Yeah.
It was a known thing.
Yeah. And Saturn's going to come up and oppose his Venus here in I think it's in September. But yeah, so this is not looking good for him.
No, not looking good at all.
Yeah.
Not looking good at all.
Yeah.
So it's pretty crazy. I've been just ruminating over this for, ever since it's been coming out. It's just for me, watching these things just unfold and watching how it's just all in the charts is just incredible. It's just incredible.
Yes,
yeah, I agree with
absolutely, absolutely.
It makes people a believer, I would hope.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Right. Well, you can also. I mean, you can see this too in terms of what's happening. Politically, how things are shifting, how there are more people kind of stepping up and talking about the need to get corporations out of politics. I mean, this is very Pluto and Capricorn. Us talking about ways to combine, to unite together. That even a change in what leadership is, that it's more about building solidarity. It's less about individualism, and kind of working together for a goal. So I think it should be interesting too as we get into the whole political campaigns to see how some of these influences and how Pluto's heart, the heart of what Pluto represents, really starts to shine.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting. It's also, watching politics, going back to politics for a minute, it's also, I'm going to say, to the patriarchy and Capricorn ruling that as well, because you're seeing the Republican Party just go through an amazing morph. I mean, look at it. Donald Trump is leading the race. Donald Trump is leading the rating. Like, look at this guy. He's ruining the party. Yeah. But the party doesn't know who they are anymore.
But part of that, too, Michelle, has to do with the Republican Party is ruled by Jupiter. And Jupiter's been in Leo, so it's all about, getting a message. And maybe the message isn't clear, but we're going to talk about it anyway. Look at me, let me shine.
Right. It's so crazy. It's so crazy.
So I think as we see Jupiter moving into Virgo in August, then we'll start seeing some of the messaging taper back a little bit, and Donald Trump might fall to the back burner and let someone who's a little bit more conservative not conservative politically, but conservative in terms of what he's willing or she is willing to say or not say.
Diplomatic is the word.
Exactly. Yeah. Totally. Great. Aw, thanks for calling, Michelle. We love you.
Great to hear from you.
We love you, Michelle.
All right, guys. Take care.
Oh wait, Michelle, before you go, where can people find you?
Oh, I'm on foxnewsradio.com. You can find all my reports there, or I'm online. You can tweet to me at Fox News ENT. I'm on Twitter at Fox News ENT. And, of course, on Facebook. So I'm all over the place.
Yeah, she is. And she just covered the Comic-Con and the Emmys.
Oh, that's right. Michelle Fox. ENT. Okay. Sorry, cool. I didn't even know my own Twitter account. Michelle Fox. I was all over Comic-Con this weekend. It was beautiful, wonderful, and kooky. And that's the way I like it.
I love it. So great. It's been fun following you. Thanks, all right, Michelle.
Guys. Take care.
All right, talk to you later.
Okay,
have a great weekend.
Bye.
She's great.
That's so great. Yeah. I love Michelle.
I do too.
So
miss
fun.
Her.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what she brought up was such an important point.
Yeah.
That looking if you want to know how Pluto is powerful and influential on a symbolic level, and ultimately this kind of just one step back. So planets don't do things to people. People do things to people. People do things to themselves. Mm-hmm. So when we're saying these things are happening to his chart, it's not that this bad Pluto is effect. Right. It is he has not been living in integrity, and Pluto is generous. Pluto's got a big heart, as we saw. Pluto says, "Hey, Bill." Or hey, whatever system's not working, whatever structure's not working, there's an opportunity for you here to heal. And you're not going to heal if things are kept inside. Yeah. You're not going to heal if you're pushing things down or things aren't coming to the surface. The only way to heal, the only way to transmute energy is to let some of that stuff rise, and partly without internal judgment. So you got to let it rise, and you got to go through a process of forgiveness, self-forgiveness, and all that stuff. I'm not talking about legally, because legally I think there need to be ramifications in order to keep people safe. Right. But personally, Pluto wants us to heal. It wants us to transform. And so and move more into our hearts. A lot of times when we're doing things that are out of integrity, we close off from our hearts. We close off from our intuition because because it's almost like there's that sense of guilt. Like none of us really want to be in that place, but moving into your heart means that you have to sometimes cry about past, and you have to say I'm sorry, and go through that process of atonement, and then, gosh, that saying the truth will set you free. It is freedom to the nth degree, because that's what Pluto ultimately wants for you. It wants you to be free spiritually, to grow, to connect with the divine, and to feel safe in that, to feel secure. It rules the crown chakra, and then it rules the root chakra. It's kind of like the two ends of your poles, So that's a little bit about Pluto, and we have 3 minutes,
Yes.
and I just want to touch on real quick one other astrological phenomena that's happening, and that is that next week Venus is going retrograde. And so, and what happens when Venus goes retrograde? It's going to station at 0 degrees. And I'm saying this because some of you might be feeling the stirrings of this already. Like your relationships, things are a little bit and under Pluto's influence, you've had some awakenings, you've had some realizations. And with Venus in retrograde, those realizations are going to keep coming up to the surface. And it's going to be a time of reflection, a time of maybe even looking back at the past. And so, the 0 degree Virgo point, the vision I want you to hold for this is that and in a portrait, the significant features of a man's head are artistically emphasized. So think about that for just a moment, because that is going to be your retrograde time. It's going to be retrograde from July 25th to September 6th. And so what we see in that is we see that all of our characteristics, all of our traits are emphasized, the significant ones. So if you're having, any kind of self-criticism, or if you're having criticism of people with whom you're in relationship with, all of those elements are going to be magnified. They're going to be accentuated. So this isn't the time to leave a relationship. This is a time to be grateful for the accentuation, and to discern what that means for you, and how to mediate that influence. So if it's a personal influence, like if it's something you're noticing about yourself, like I've been gaining weight, or my nose is big, or a character trait, then you can mediate that. You can work with that. If it's something in your partner, it would be good to kind of to raise it up in quiet and in relatingship, in that Venus, balanced conversation, kind of emotionally emotionally balanced and in a state of equilibrium, and see what you can do to make shifts and changes in your relationship. So there will be more. I'll be writing about this on my blog.
Great.
And perhaps even submitting an article to the Live Box magazine, where you can read my horoscopes. And starting in September, I'll be doing weeklies. So that'll be exciting.
Yeah.
So I want to thank you all so much for tuning in to our first show after hiatus. Next week, I think I will be broadcasting live from Italy, where I will be speaking at an astrology conference.
Oh, wow.
So I'm gonna try to Skype in. I still need to figure out a few details on that.
Okay.
I want to thank John.
My pleasure. Great to have you back.
So good to be back.
Yes.
And thank Valerie Madden and Michelle Polino, and thanks for calling in, Michelle. And thank my sister Allie Lang and Robin Kaiser, all my creative team. I will be posting a little bit about Venus retrograde. So follow my blog, blissenup.com, and have a wonderful, blissful, joyful week. Thank you.